Hey guys, John V from PhoneArena here. You're watching our video review of the LG G Watch. It was teased back when the LG G3 was introduced, but now it's in final form. In fact, it's actually one out of two available Android Wear smartwatches that you could pick up, and it's going to try to help give Google that footprint it needs in this new space. When the first batch of rendered shots came out for the LG G Watch, we were a little bit intrigued by it, but the end result is far from that. Instead, it's boring and bland. Instead, what we're presented here with is a design that's unflattering. It's boxy looking, has a cheapish feel to it, and come to think of it, it kind of reminds us of a Casio calculator watch. It even extends to the wrist strap. It's an ordinary rubbery one that's adjustable. Just like the Gear Live, you could actually replace it, but it's not as easily taken apart. Well, it's at least worth noting that the LG G Watch has an IP67 rating, which means that it's both water and dust resistant. So even if you happen to shower with it on, you don't have to worry about any damages. At first glance, the casing looks like it's made entirely out of plastic, but in fact, it's a PVD-coated stainless steel frame. There are no visible physical buttons on the sides of the LG G Watch, but when you flip it around, there's actually this pinhole-sized one. It does nothing more to just reset the unit, and of course, you have the pin connectors right there to charge the unit. And in order to charge the LG G Watch, you have to use the included proprietary charging cable, which has a magnetic connection, which is nice. But unfortunately, seeing that it is proprietary, if you lose it, chances are you're going to have a little bit more difficulty getting a replacement because it's not something that's relatively accessible at a retail store. Just like the design, the display is rather disappointing. It's actually larger than the Galaxy Gear. It sizes up at 1.65 inches, but has a lower resolution, 280 by 280 pixels, and it's an IPS LCD panel. Okay, we're not too critical about the lower resolution just because we're able to still make out some fine details, so we don't have to squint too much with our eyes. But what the problem here is just that the panel itself has a very bland tone. It has some poor viewing angles, and overall it just seems washed out. Beyond the hardware, its success mainly hinges on the adoption of Google's new Android Wear platform. Now, I'm not going to go too much detail because I kind of summed up the Android Wear experience in our review of the Samsung Gear Live, and actually the experience here with LG G Watch does not differ in any way. First, let's talk about the visual presentation of the platform. It utilizes Google's new material design. We see it in all these cards as they hover over something in the background, and it has a nice flowy look to it. Unfortunately, there's minimal personalization right now with Android Wear. It's only limited to the various clocks that are available via the home screen, and that's pretty much it for now. Secondly, the main highlighting feature of Android Wear is its tight integration with Google Now. Just like the service for smartphones, it's a hub for various cards, which gives us some very relevant information. So for things like traffic information, the weather, and even reservations, we're even able to have our boarding pass directly on here. It provides us enough relevant data, and it does it in a very discreet manner. On top of that, it has this always on feature with Google Now. So all we gotta do is just speak the phrase, "Okay Google," and from there we could do a bunch of different things. Essentially, Android Wear pushes all the notifications we'd get on our smartphone to the smartwatch and does it in a very discreet manner that we like. But right now, the functionality is just at that, being able to view those notifications. You're gonna get some basic things, like for example here, for reservation, we have an address. We can navigate to it, but 9 and 10 times when we look at a card, the only option that we're given here is just being able to open it on our phone. It also acts as a fitness tracker, but unlike some of the dedicated units out there, it's pretty generic in what it has to offer. So essentially, what it does here is just shows us the amount of steps we've taken through the course of the day, and the data is presented in this graph view here, but it doesn't do anything more than show us this data. Overall, Android Wear has a nice start out of the gate. It's a wonderful hub for all our notifications, and of course its tight Google Now integration is fantastic. But as you know, the platform matures and more third-party applications offer support for Android Wear, it's going to increase its overall functionality and usefulness. Well, there's no arguing that the LG G Watch is a cool piece of tech, especially that it's helping out Google in establishing its presence in this new segment, but in the greater scheme of things, the LG G Watch is just boring. The design is rather bland, and honestly, we're not all that excited about it. And when you add in the fact that this is priced higher than Samsung Galaxy Gear at $230, it makes for a harder buy, even more knowing that the display has a lower resolution and just has a more cheapest look to it. So if you guys want to learn more about the LG G Watch, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. It's John V. Thanks for watching.